Welcome to the Rockin Wellness Podcast, the show that takes you on a voyage to better health, wellness, and happiness that will rock your world. With me, Rachel Joy Olson, your host, your coach, and your biggest fan. Hello and welcome to episode 3 of the Rockin Wellness Podcast. Over the next 2 episodes, we are going to be talking about some things that are very near and dear to my heart. So this is part 1 of a 2-part series. Now, you will discover in these next 2 episodes 103 terrific reasons to make the switch to a compassionate, plant-based, vegan lifestyle. Now, if you're listening to this right now and you're already thinking, ugh, this isn't for me, I'd encourage you to stay with me. Although you may not want to make this switch now, it doesn't hurt to hear some of these reasons, does it? You never know. One of these reasons might just rock your world and spark you into actions that may completely transform your life for the better. If not, that's okay too. But I believe that taking the time to listen to these reasons will give you a better understanding of the people in your life or those people who you meet who have chosen this lifestyle. It's all about educating ourselves so we can be more compassionate and understanding to other people's choices and beliefs, regardless of what they are. We don't always have to agree with each other, but I do think it's important to listen and at least try to understand. I think you'll agree with me when I say that the plant-based or vegan movement that's happening right now is huge. This is no joke, and it is here to stay. Eating a plant-based diet and making more compassionate lifestyle choices has been proven to be one of the best things we can do to protect our future here on this planet and the health of the human race. If you're listening and already live a compassionate plant-based vegan lifestyle, then I thank you so much for being here. I know for me, I always love listening to these reasons from a variety of sources because it helps solidify the decision I made almost 15 years ago and how much making this switch has rocked my world for the better. I have been a personal trainer and health coach for almost 3 decades now and have had conversations with many clients who have been given all sorts of interesting nutrition advice from other trainers or health practitioners. I remember one time I was with a new client going over some questions to get a better understanding of her background and what she needed help with. When we went over what she ate each day, she seemed to make sure to highlight the meat protein she was eating so that I, a health coach and personal trainer, would see that she was doing her due diligence and eating her protein. As I sat and listened to this, I suspected she was focusing on the protein because trainers in the past had told her how important it was for her. It's important to get your protein in order to lose weight, or that she heard from the media that in order to lose the weight or get the muscle that she wanted, she had to eat meat. At one point in my conversation, my client asked, "I hate eggs. Is that okay?" That was the perfect moment for me to say, "Yes, absolutely. Why do you think it wouldn't be okay?" She replied, "Well, because trainers in the past have said that I should eat eggs as they are a great source of protein. But I really hate them and I don't want to eat them anymore. They make me nauseous." I laughed, and at that moment I said, "It's completely fine by me if you never eat another egg again, and besides, you'd probably be healthier because of it." At that moment, I knew it was the right time to let her know that I was a plant-based or vegan coach. Then a cool thing happened. She said, "Oh, thank goodness. That's wonderful. I've often thought about going vegan. I really don't like eating meat that much, but I have no clue what to do, and everybody's told me that I couldn't get my results by being vegan." So a huge smile came upon my face, as you can imagine, and I knew her and I were going to get along just fine. Years ago, when I first made the switch to a plant-based diet, I was often a little hesitant to mention that I was vegan for fear that someone would judge me or ask me questions such as, "Where do you get your protein?" or "Isn't being vegan dangerous?" Often I wouldn't say anything about my lifestyle choice and then cringe every time I heard someone boast about the ridiculous amounts of dead animal flesh they were eating. Then in the next breath, complain about the gout, the heartburn, the acne, or excess weight they were dealing with. Now that I've been eating a plant-based diet for about 10 years, vegetarian for 10 before that, and I have done a vast amount of research on the many benefits of a plant-based diet, I'm not shy at all to let somebody know I eat a plant-based diet. That is, of course, if they ask, or I feel I can help them in some way. Don't get me wrong, I don't run around shouting, "I'm vegan," at the top of my lungs to the world at every moment. But I am no longer worried about saying that I am if the moment presents itself. Now, let me help you understand the difference between vegan and vegetarian, as there is often some confusion around what these terms mean. Many people have heard the word vegetarian and have a clear understanding of what that means. Most vegetarians are those who do not eat the flesh of animals, but still eat the products of animals, such as eggs and dairy. There are a few different categories of vegetarianism, and these are: first one, pesco, ovo, lacto vegetarian. These particular vegetarians eat fish, eggs, and dairy, but don't eat red meat, pork, or poultry. There's also the ovo-lacto vegetarian. These vegetarians eat eggs and dairy, but no fish, red meat, pork, or poultry. This tends to be the most common type of vegetarian diet. A lacto vegetarian. These vegetarians eat dairy products, but no eggs, fish, red meat, pork, or poultry. And ovo vegetarians. These vegetarians eat eggs, but no dairy, fish, red meat, pork, or poultry. So a newer type of vegetarian diet, and I shouldn't say newer because it's been around for a really long time, is the plant-based or vegan diet. Veganism is defined as a way of living that excludes all forms of animal exploitation and cruelty. For these reasons, the vegan diet is free of all animal products, including red meat, poultry, fish, eggs, and dairy. Veganism can be traced back to about 2,000 years ago. However, the first modern-day vegans who established the Vegan Society started practicing this way of life in about 1944. Today, the amount of people who identify as vegan has increased by upwards of as much 600% in the United States, and veganism has been named a top consumer trend. You've also heard me now use the terms plant-based and vegan pretty interchangeably. So let me highlight the difference between someone who calls themselves plant-based over someone who considers themselves a vegan. Someone who considers themselves strictly plant-based eats a diet that is made up of predominantly plant foods. For some people, this may mean a diet of 100% plant foods or mostly plant-based foods with a little animal products. To me, plant-based means 100% plants, but I have heard people use this term and include small amounts of animal products in their diet. Whereas someone who is vegan, not only do they not eat any animal products and eat a diet of 100% plant-based foods, or as much as they can, but also strives to live a life that reflects compassion towards animals as much as possible. This means that they are not using any products that contain animal products or have been tested on animals or contributes to animal cruelty or suffering in any way. You know, of course, plant-based and vegan are really just labels that some people like to attach to themselves. I'm personally not a big fan of either one of these labels. I think labels often ostracize people and force people to try to fit in a perfect little box, but life isn't like that. Even though I've lived a vegan lifestyle for over 10 years, I'm certainly not perfect, but strive to do my best to live as compassionately as possible and really do my best to no longer contribute to human, animal, or environmental suffering in any way. Sometimes I'll choose to use the term plant-based over veganism because often the term vegan seems to send weird red flags up for people. But if you say plant-based, people tend not to get quite as defensive. So people usually choose to follow a compassionate plant-based diet or vegan lifestyle for various reasons. But there are 3 top reasons. These are, number 1, the very number 1 top reason why people usually choose to go plant-based is for ethical reasons. This stems from the desire to not support or contribute to any industry or practice that harms or is cruel to animals in any way. This includes not buying meat, dairy, eggs, leather, fur, or products that contain or have been tested on any animal. The second most common, and it seems to be more and more common these days, especially with the younger people, is environmental concerns. It has been shown that agriculture places a huge strain on the environment, so people often choose to eat a vegan diet so they don't contribute to the destruction of the planet, at least from a diet standpoint. The third most common reason why people choose this lifestyle is their desire to improve their health. I know this was my reason for going plant-based or vegan. Much research exists to support the positive health benefits of a plant-based vegan diet. Often, if someone has a health concern, a medical professional will actually, if they know about nutrition, will recommend a vegan diet to reduce negative symptoms and improve health. In this episode and in part 2, I will break these top reasons down into subset reasons that will allow you to think about and ponder how these reasons might align with and reflect your own core values and beliefs that you learned in episode 2. These reasons may also give you a new understanding that you didn't have before about how you are living your life now, how your choices affect yourself, others, and the planet we live on, and they may just inspire you to make the switch and join so many others who have already done so and experience the positive benefits because of it. Okay, let's get rocking with the number one reason why people choose to live a more compassionate, plant-based, or vegan lifestyle, which is for ethical reasons. By choosing to go vegan for ethical reasons, you will save hundreds of animals per year just from not eating meat alone. You will no longer support factory farms that cause harm and suffering to millions of animals per year around the world. You will no longer support companies that torture and kill animals for their fur. You will no longer support companies that use animals for their clothing products, bedding, and other products. You will no longer support companies that test their products on animals causing great suffering and harm. You will show that you love animals regardless of their species. You will encourage compassion around the world with your lifestyle choice. You will no longer be ingesting the negative karma and energy from these slaughtered animals. It has been thought by many spiritual leaders all over the world that ingesting an animal, especially one that has been treated in an inhumane manner, is bad karma, and that the negative energy from the animal is passed on to the person who eats it. And I would say, to me, it makes perfect sense. When you choose this lifestyle for ethical reasons, you will no longer be eating sick animals. Many animals from factory farms are sick. And when you eat a sick animal, you will be sick. You will reduce the risk of species extinction. Many of the Earth's species are on the brink of extinction due to agriculture, human overpopulation, deforestation, poaching, hunting, and habitat fragmentation. When you choose this lifestyle, you will develop a deeper connection with your soul and divine energy. I was speaking at an event one night about going plant-based, and I had a participant come up to me after and asked why he feels like he can no longer tolerate eating meat. This is the same meat he's consumed his entire life. And one of the first questions I asked him was, have you recently been upgrading your spiritual connection? He kind of looked at me like I was crazy. He was shocked by that question because he actually had been doing some spiritual work and wondered how I would have known that. The funny thing is, it seems to happen a lot. Once a person starts to explore a deeper spiritual path, often the heaviness of meat is no longer tolerable by the body. And if the person is self-aware, they will sense it and will no longer be able to eat meat. However, the same can be true the other way. As you begin to cut out meat and animal products, you might begin to open up to a higher level of spiritual connection and consciousness. So if you want to become more in tune with your inner self, consider cutting out animal products to help your body heal and connect to a higher level of energy. When you choose this lifestyle, you will begin to learn interesting facts about the farm animals who are normally raised and slaughtered for their meat, secretions, fur, and skin. So I'm going to review some facts about animals raised in factory farms that, of course, are all great reasons why going vegan is a terrific lifestyle choice. So many people think farm animals who are normally consumed as meat, they think they're dumb. And most of these animals are very smart and unique creatures. Research has shown that all animals that are currently consumed and exploited for human consumption or gain in some way are extremely intellectual beings. Farm animals are extremely emotional, intelligent animals, such as cows. The unfortunate part about it is cows are artificially impregnated for their milk and have their babies taken away from them at birth to prevent the calf from drinking the milk that is sold for human consumption. And the bond between a calf and its mother is very strong. When a mother is separated from her calf, she will frantically call and search for her calf long after it has been taken and sold as veal or onto a beef farm. Did you know that cows can live up to 30 or more years when not in a factory farm? But the average lifespan of a factory dairy cow is only about 5 years old. Then they're tossed to the side as garbage. Cows can smell odors from over 6 miles away, kind of just a neat fact. Cows hear frequencies that are higher than humans. Cows are highly intelligent beings with strong decision-making capabilities. Let's move on to pigs. I love pigs. Did you know that pigs are considered the 5th most intelligent animal in the world, which is more intelligent than dogs? Pigs are capable of playing video games with more focus and success than chimpanzees. Pigs experience joy, loneliness, frustration, fear, and pain just like every other animal we share our lives with. Pigs are social animals who recognize their own names, learn tricks for treats, and lead very social lives in a natural environment. And pigs love having their bellies rubbed, just like dogs. I remember my sister used to call me the pig whisperer because anytime we saw a pig, first thing I would do is go in to rub their belly, and they just topple off to the side. They love having their bellies rubbed, and it's no different than my dog. So let's move on to some poultry. Chickens are just as smart as your household pets as well. Chickens have been shown to have just as much intelligence as monkeys, and we all know how smart monkeys are. And turkeys are loving creatures. They love giving hugs and are very affectionate. So factory farming is not what you think it is. There are many dark truths about this type of farming that many people are not aware of when buying a piece of meat. Most meat is displayed in pretty little packages in the grocery store, but how it gets there is a very gruesome story that most people don't want to know. Some interesting facts about factory farming that, of course, are all good reasons to go vegan include: animals are fed foods such as corn, wheat, and soy that are grown using large amounts of pesticides that are passed on to humans when ingested. And the intake of these pesticides cause many health problems in the human body. The beaks of turkeys and chickens and ducks are often removed to prevent cannibalism of stressed birds in overpopulated cages, and this removal is very painful. Chicken today contains about 50% more fat and 1/3 less protein than they did 40 years ago. 70 billion, yes, I said billion, farm animals are raised for food worldwide each year. That's astronomical. Commercial laying hens are forced into small cages with 4 to 8 other birds to lay their eggs. Male chicks are tossed into large bins and ground alive because they can't lay eggs. Piglets often have their teeth crushed and tails cut off without any anesthetic. Sows, female pigs, are forced into small pens, gestation crates to have their babies, who are then just taken away from them. These poor mamas are not even able to turn around in the small 2-foot pens. And pigs get big. They're hundreds of pounds. Over 2 million turkeys are consumed for Thanksgiving in Canada alone. Over 3 million turkeys are consumed at Christmas in Canada alone. And when you choose to live this lifestyle, the cool thing is you're no longer supporting killing and exploiting other animals like insects, right? Like bees for their products. Factory farming not only affects the animals, but it also affects the people who work in the facilities. And a lot of people forget about that. Many poor immigrants are forced into this line of work and face brutal working conditions. For these reasons, going vegan will prevent many of these unethical human issues. Did you know that many workers in meatpacking plants suffer a great deal of trauma, injury, and exploitation? The meatpacking industry often exploits small farmers and forces them out of business. And pollution caused by factory farms can cause numerous health problems, such as skin infections, nausea, depression, and death to people living nearby. Whew, heavy stuff, I know. Let's stop and take a moment and just breathe. I want you to ask yourself and just tune in right now to see how you're feeling. Did you hear any reasons in there that sound like good reasons to maybe eat a few more plants and buy a few less animal products? If so, congratulations. You are a compassionate person and already on your way to making positive choices that will rock your world and affect your life in a positive way. I know many of the things I discussed in this episode can feel heavy, really icky, and sad. And I'm going to encourage you to know that it's okay to feel that way. We all feel that way when we realize that the choices we make may be harmful to another living being. But I really truly believe it's important to not put our heads in the sand, but to learn as much as we can about how our actions and choices affect those around us and make better choices as we can. As I mentioned in the last episode, Maya Angelou said, "When we know better, we do better." If you're interested in learning more about how to make the switch to a compassionate vegan lifestyle, I encourage you to check out my book, A Beginner's Guide to Going Meatless, that will take you through a step-by-step journey to making the switch in a very easy manner. This book has a few delicious recipes in it, but if you want even more recipes, feel free to check out my latest cookbook, The Magic of Living Nutrition. You can find those both on my website at www.rjowellness.com to find the links to purchase both those books on Amazon, or simply visit Amazon directly. Well, it looks like that's all the time we have for today. Thank you for listening, and I hope you found some value and inspiration in this episode of the Rockin Wellness Podcast. Until next time, my friends, keep rockin' your wellness. Thanks for joining me on this episode of the Rockin Wellness Podcast. Make sure to visit my website at www.rjowellness.com, where you can subscribe to the show and check out all the show notes. While you're at it, if you found value in this podcast, I'd appreciate a rating on iTunes, or if you'd simply tell a friend about it, that would help out too. You may choose to join the R.J.O Wellness community to take advantage of the freebies, courses, and coaching that will take your voyage to the next level, or support this podcast with your monthly membership. Until next time, my friends, keep rocking your wellness.